Welcome everyone. Here is a video on understanding and balancing your dosha. My name is Dr. Isha Kaushik. I'm a recent graduate of Sonoran University and Dr. Vrinder Sodhi's resident. I'm here with Dr. Vrinder Sodhi today. He is the first naturopath and Ayurvedic physician in the United States with a specialization in integrative oncology, and he has been in this field for 43 years.
Thank you.
Welcome. And so Dr. Sodhi, I would love to pick your brain on this topic. It is something you are very well versed in with Ayurveda and Doshas. What can you tell us about Doshas?
So dosha is a Sanskrit word. What that mean? It has a two meaning. Same word has a two meaning. A lot of Sanskrit language has, one word can relate to too many things out there. So dosha means when you are in balance, you are in health. When you're not in balance, you create a disease pattern. So that is the interesting meaning of the dosha. And the dosha word is utilized in the body when the five elements, which is present in the mother nature, when we are translating those five elements into the body, then we call them dosha. So the five elements is called ether or space or air, fire, water, and earth. And to understand these elements, you need to understand the ether or the akasha is the lightest thing, and is actually the hollowness, the emptiness of this universe. And when these empty molecules or very light energetic patterns start to move, they create a stir, and the stir creates the vayu. And when there is a vayu, and these molecules are colliding against each other, and we create the heat. And whenever there is a heat, two things happen. Certain thing becomes liquid and certain things become solid. So that is the water and the earth element. So these things is constantly rotating in the mother nature, and it's going from the lightest to the heaviest. And see, the akasha is the lightest and the earth is the heaviest. So they are same energetic, but like for example, why I'm saying that, the air has an element of akasha in it, and air. The fire has the elements of akasha, air, and the fire. The water has elements, all the three previous elements, and the water. The prithvi has all the elements, but the heaviest is the prithvi element.
Right.
So this is how they all are same, but they also are progressively different energetically. So to understand the akasha or the ether will be the lightest, and the prithvi will be the heaviest. And so this is the nutshell, philosophy of Vedic sciences. And in the body, we convert them into doshas.
So the first dosha is going to be Vata, which is made of ether and air. What can you tell us about Vata?
So Vata is a combination of the ether and air.
Yes.
And so all the properties of ether, like the emptiness, space, hollowness, will be there. And so all the organs which are like a hollow organs in the body will represent by the ether molecules in the body.
Right.
And then there is air. So the air is the movement factor. So all those elements of air will be present in the body, and those organs where there is a lot of air. So like a colon, muscles, because muscles contract and move, and they move because of the vata, ligaments.
Right.
So all those organs, where you can hear, like a ear, because the air movement travels
air,
exactly. Right. So all those things, are part of the vata in our body.
All right, perfect. So here are some characteristics everyone can follow along with Vata. What are some things, you've been in this field for so long, you've seen so many Vata dosha people walk through your door. What are some characteristics about Vata people that jump out to you?
So first is their body frame. Usually they are thin, tall, or short. Weight can be on the skinnier side, usually, unless you have an imbalance on you. And they tend to be cold and dry. If you notice their scalp, the hair, they dry. And the eyes can be smaller, the small line hair, the eyelashes will be smaller. Their appetite will be not regular. They can be variable. They can be hungry, then not hungry at all. When it comes to their bowel movement, they are on the constipation side. They will be more prone to irritable bowel syndrome because of the mental moment factor. Irritable bowel, so that causes constipation or diarrhea in some people.
Right.
And they are not very easily, they don't sweat very easily because the cold in them. People with the heat will sweat more easy. So the Vata is a cold, dry side, so they will not sweat very easily. And temperament wise, they are very energetic, enthusiastic, jumpy kind of people.
Right.
And these people, they learn things very quickly, but then they forget it. So they get it and then forget it. These people are talkative. They will engage in this conversation very easy. They like warmer weather. They dislike cold because cold will aggravate the Vata in them. They mostly very active, restless, mostly social. They don't like to be in routine. There's just like a hate anything in the routine. They're prone to anxiety and fear. Anxiety and fear is the very core Vata symptom. And a lot of people who has a Vata dominance in them, or when we are actually in a Vata mode, will be more anxious and fearful too.
That's how the imbalance shows up?
Imbalance shows up.
Okay.
So the problem with them is they have a hard time staying in a discipline. And another thing which I want to say here, that they are not wise with their money. They spend too much and they can be using their credit card. So financial responsibility is very important part for Vata people to learn. So anybody who has that, so make sure that you follow the guidelines which we're going to give you.
Yes.
That will help you even your financial stability, because your mind is your leader, and how your mind is thinking, that's how your body is going to react.
Perfect. So people who are maxing out their credit cards, this is for you. So how can we balance that?
Yes, so balance again, start with your mind first, because mind is the leader of the body. And so whatever your thought process coming here, that's how the body is gonna, which I tell my patient, you might have heard me saying that you're writing software on it. Then the software comes out and gives what you program. And then I don't like that program. Says, God, I don't want this, but who programmed it? It's me. Okay, so calm down.
Okay.
It's like look at what is bothering you, get rid of it. This is what I tell my patient is that our memory, like computers has memories, and if you overfill your computer, it starts to react.
Right.
It doesn't
starts to warm up.
It does not give you the right information.
Right.
Okay. So similarly, our bodies are like computers. We put too much garbage files in it, and those things. Okay, he said, she said. I carry on so much old files that I have a hard time living in the present. And present is this. It's already become the past.
Right.
So the present is moment. So start living moment to moment. Very important for Vata, because they can get stuck in that mode where they don't understand. They are ruining that. Actually, most of us can do it, but especially when you're in Vata phase. So second is food. Vata is cold.
Yes.
Vata is dry. So simple thing is warm. Warm food. Put some more oil in the food, dryness to remove that. Drink enough amount of fluids, liquids. But like if you drink coffee, you 1 cup in, 2 cups out.
Yes.
Because coffee is dry already.
Right.
And so you're not gonna gain it. Same thing with the green tea. You took 1 cup, you pee 2 out. So make sure that you these drinks, your coffee, your caffeinated drink, should be very minimal, because you're dehydrating in the end. You can keep yourself oleated with massage, oil, put gentle massage, not very deep, because they need a lighter touch. They love, you cannot dig them up like Kapha people, you can dig them up, but Vata people, you just gentler touch. Create a routine in exercise, food, because they're irregular in everything. They don't like to stick to a routine. Meditation, sit down, calm your mind, and try to live in the present. The meditation is called dhyana, and dhyana means you live in that moment.
Okay.
The meaning of dhyana means you live in that moment. And another thing is sleep. So a lot of these people, they just like to stay up late.
Right.
Okay, it's actually become a society norm,
Right.
but Vata people more. So now, if you don't sleep at night, you are not going to charge your batteries.
Right.
So you have to go to bed by 10, wake up by 6 o'clock. Vata people need around 6 to 7 hours of sleep, at least solid sleep. Avoid the stimulants; they will not going to help you. Try to, if you're in a cold weather, try to warm yourself up. Wear nice clothes, warm clothes, wear cap and gloves. Eat food which are warm in nature. Black pepper, ginger. Ginger is very nice warming. Spices can warm you up, and that was the way to help you. Warm teas, herbal teas. You can have green tea, but I not want you to drink too much,
Right.
because then it will certainly not really help you. And the food which has a sweet taste. So sweet, I'm not talking about sugar here. Sweet, like even your bread is sweet naturally. Rice is sweet too. Lots of beans are sweet. So all those kind of stuff which is a sweet in nature, vegetables which are sweet in nature, grains, milk is sweet, nuts and seeds are sweet, and lean meats. So you can have that in your food. When you create that sweetness, your body calms down. Then you also need sour. Sour actually is to digest your food very properly. Vata people has irregular digestion. So if they put lime, lemon, vinegar, tamarind kind of stuff in there, they will digest more better.
Okay.
Or fermented food. That also, because I know this is a known fact, because the same food you ferment, it becomes lighter to digest.
Yes.
And plus, people who are vegetarian out there, they are making natural B12 for them. Okay, so this is another way, especially for vegetarian. So like grapes and oranges, pineapple, tamarind, unripe fruit. In Indian culture, people make a lot of chutneys.
There we go.
And you can make a lot of chutneys, mint chutney. You can spice them up, to warm it up. Mostly the chutneys are cooling in nature, especially if you make mint chutney. But if you put black pepper, you put a little bit of ginger powder, they warms it up. Then also you need a salty food. So salty foods helps in digestion and elimination. So one of the issue with the Vata people is that digestive system is weak, and they can be gassy and bloated. So when we put salt it has a wonderful properties of getting rid of those excessive amount of gases and calm down the nervous activity in your tummy. So if you favor those food, you are going to calm your Vata and you get much better results.
So when you're mentioning salt, what does that look like? Can I eat a bag of chips as a Vata dominant person, or what should my salt content be?
Okay, that's a very good example. So when we are consuming a bag of chips, we not realize it. One thing, doesn't matter what kind of chips you're eating, potato chips, corn chips, or healthy, so-called healthy chips like taro chips and this and that, they're deep fried. Okay, so when you're frying, you're not actually helping the digestion. The Vata people have more because they become very crispy and dry, so it's more difficult for them to digest. And then they have rancid oil on it.
Yes.
Okay, which is another hard thing. And then they really salt that very heavily. So you may not realize that this bag may have around 2 to 3 teaspoons of salt. And when you're cooking for the whole family of 4 or 5, you may not use more than 1 teaspoon of salt. So you are actually tripling and single-handedly.
Yeah.
And that's for whole family. Now you're single person eating that much salt, which is really bad for you. Salt also dehydrate you if you eat too much. Small quantity, good. But if you eat too much, it dehydrates.
Okay, so we should just be salting our food a little extra.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more topic I wanted to go back to real quick was the sensory stimulation you talked about. So what are some ways that I can make sure I'm not overloading on sensory stimulation?
Okay, so again, we have too much sensory overload
Yes.
of all the cell phones, computers, media, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, music, loud music. So we are actually in our society, we are overburdening our senses.
Absolutely.
And we're burning them out. Because in the history of mankind, we never been exposed to that kind of exposure to our senses.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to cut it down. So in Ayurvedic medicine, we practice mona. Mona means not speaking at all.
That's difficult.
Difficult. Giving your tongue a complete rest. Not watching anything, and just stay in meditation. So, because instead of overburdening your senses, you give them rest. We talk about in Ayurvedic medicine, heen yoga. Heen mean when you're not properly utilizing your senses. We call ati yoga, excessive use.
Right.
So what is the best use? Samyak yoga, proper moderation of the same. Like if you look at very shiny light with your eyes, everybody knows that it's going to be bad.
Yes, painful.
Okay, painful. Same thing if you look at things which are too bright, that will cause you problem. With the ears, if you hear too loud music, causes the damage to your ears. Same thing like your tongue, which is the taste, and you put some very acidic thing, it's gonna burn it out.
Right.
So there is a balance is the key here, not using anything excessively.
Okay, thank you for those tips. So move on to our next dosha, which is the meeting of fire and water, our Pitta dosha. What can you tell us about Pitta?
So Pitta is the combination of fire and water, as you said, and so Pitta is very important for my body temperature. It keeps my body temperature. It also keeps me intelligent.
Okay.
So the brain is the Pitta seat, eyes are Pitta seat, liver is the Pitta seat, spleen is the Pitta seat, your digestive juices are Pitta seat, your pancreas. So all those organs in our body, lymph system is a Pitta. So if you might have noticed, being a doctor now for many years, sleep studied and then came out of school. Whenever people has a Pitta disorder, you will see, like for example, if person get a hepatitis, you can see in the skin yellow. Okay, that's the Pitta organ.
Right.
You can see in the eyes yellow. You can see in the tongue. Okay, and then if you do the blood test, you see the liver is inflamed.
Yes.
Okay, so very interestingly, you can watch where the Pitta is gonna go. Okay, so Pitta personality, as a person, they are kind of moderate in frame.
Okay.
They're not too big, not too small. They don't gain weight easy. Actually, a lot of people will get jealous. They can eat huge amount of food without gaining weight because they have a good digestive fire. Metabolism is stronger, so they can. And then usually they will, like, I hear this a lot. My mother-in-law or my sister-in-law eat that much food and she doesn't gain an ounce, and I smell it and I gain 5 pounds. Okay, and this is the Pitta personality who will have a hard time gaining weight. The skin is usually warm and oily, and the oiliness has a problem with it. If you're excessive oily, you get acne, isn't it? So a lot of females, male who get a lot of acne is their Pitta, more Pitta. The hair are fine, and they get premature graying and balding like me, So the eyes are bright, usually almond shaped, steady gaze, appetite good. Like a joke in my house too. Like when I'm hungry, I need my food.
Right.
So there's intense. The appetite is intense. The bowel movements can be loose, regular, and large quantity, and maybe color in yellow, more yellow color to brown, and they sweat easily. They show a little bit of warmth to them, body starts sweating. So because of the fire in them.
Right.
And temperament-wise, they are very bright, intelligent folks. They can understand things very quickly. They can learn things very quickly. And that's become a problem of itself. Because when you learn quickly and everybody else who's not up to that par, they can say, what going on with them? How can they can't learn that quickly? So because that becomes a little issue. And the Pitta is really a good worker, but bad boss.
Bad boss, bad leader.
Bad leader because he wants too much,
Yeah.
Not a bad in the bad sense, but he wants too much,
Perfectionist.
They are good in speech. They can make a clear, decisive decision. They don't like heat too much because it bothers them. They like water. They like cool things. They will like ski kind of activity, water games, swimming in water. They're very competitive and intense. They like planning. They make routines. They're organized. Emotionally easily frustrated. and quick to anger.
Okay.
So small thing, they burst it out. They can get easy rashes with the sun.
Right.
Sun can be cause the rashes to them. Anything with the heat, they break out rashes on the body. So they need to be a little careful about those things.
Okay, sounds good. So now that we know the characteristics of the Pitta people, how can we balance them?
So again, mind. First is the mind, because mind is your programming.
Yes.
Okay, so you program yourself right. So look at your frustration, anger, irritability. Again, remember we talked about the programming. All that programming which is running on the back of your head, remove the garbage file, delete them on a daily basis. Like people talk about the body cleaning, like brush your teeth or shower, but we all need to do mental cleaning on a daily basis. Otherwise, what happens is our garbage can get so full,
Right.
and so I think we all heard that expression, the last straw which broke the camel's back.
Yes.
And so what happens when we have too much garbage can full of emotion stuff, and you say a small word, now
Topples
it bursts.
over. Yes.
Everything bursts. So every one of us, we need to practice daily cleaning the mind.
Okay.
So what things bothering you? We should have a retrospection every day. So where is my mind today? I'm feeling lovable to myself. If I'm feeling irritable, if I'm feeling fearful, anxietyful, am I getting too attached? These are all the different characteristics of Vata, Pitta, Kapha. And when you put that scale to you and then says, okay, I need to be neutral. I need to be the center. So I'm more open to receive things.
Okay.
Okay. So Pitta people, frustration, irritability, anger.
Yeah.
So watch for that.
Sounds like journaling might be a good idea.
Exactly.
For Pitta people.
Exactly. They can do cooling breath.
Yes.
The funnel breathing. Breathe through the funnel. You're breathing in through the funnel, by the way. Now swallow the coolness and try to feel in your heart. Calm it down. Then let it out from the mouth. That cools you off. And also this works very well for people who has a smoking addiction.
Oh, that is good to know.
Yeah, very easy exercise to do. And because you're getting same kind of stimulation when you get from the smoking.
Okay.
And so your craving will die down. Although you have to start from ahead. Nobody can stop any addiction unless you really want to do it.
And this breathing technique is called?
Shitali pranayam. Shitali means cooling.
Okay.
Pranayam, breathing exercises. So start with a regular, non-competitive kind of exercises. I encourage people to go for walk. Walking is good for almost everybody. I walk myself daily. You might have seen me walking every day. Every day we walk. Doesn't matter rain, sunshine, snow. Does not matter. We walk every day, and depending upon how much time allow. But I try to, with my wife, we try to walk 3 miles a day. That's our daily routine, and so go for walk in the Mother Nature. The serene atmosphere of the Mother Nature, jungle, water, trees, birds, bees, bugs. They all are part of us.
Yes.
We are not separate from them. So when you're going out there, create a relationship with them. That will calm you down. We just look at a beautiful bird. I think we just recorded a video today, a baby bird being fed by mother. It's amazing, just like. My wife is always get real upset because I always like to stop and look at those kind of stuff. But it's so much calming. It's like the joy of that is amazing.
I think something you mentioned is like if you go into nature or a jungle and you take a walk, the immunoprotective effects last for 1 week.
1 week, 1 hour of walk in the jungle will bring your natural killer cell activity 40%.
Wow.
I don't know any herb, any drug, any medicine,
Who can do that?
any IV vitamin C will bring you 40% up.
Right.
So it's a free medicine right there.
Amazing.
So again, self-reflection, self-care, avoid stimulant, alcohol, big problem for Pitta people, acidic food, caffeine, too spicy, small amount of fine. There are heating spices, there are cooling spices. Heating spices like cayenne pepper, like I cannot handle red chili. You might have seen.
Yes.
I always, wherever I go, we talk about don't put spicy for black pepper, small quantity, ginger, okay. Even garlic bothers these Pitta people too, so they have to be careful about that one. So anything which is too spicy, too stimulant will bother them. So they need to favor food which are sweet in nature and bitter and astringent. So sweet is actually has a cooling effect, by the way.
Okay.
So your most grains, sweet fruits, squashes, root vegetable, milk, ghee, yogurt comes in this sweet form. Again, I'm not talking about sugar here. Sugar in the mother nature, if you see, there is no sugar. Every sugar which you see is man-made. The only sugar which is present in the mother nature is raw honey.
Right.
Everything else is man-made. Bitter actually also has a calming effect. And in naturopathic medicine, we talk about bitters and the liver.
Yes.
Okay. Because of the liver is a seat of heat. We just talked about that. So when you're taking bitters, it calms down the heat. So there are lots of bitter foods like dandelions around here. Bitter melon in India use it. Jerusalem artichoke, we all know about that. Dark chocolate, cumin, neem. There's a sweet neem and there's a bitter neem. They're both used. Saffron, fenugreek, turmeric in small quantity will help you.
Okay.
Then the astringent food. Astringent food also has a cooling property. Legumes, almost all beans, you can use. Then also apples and berries, pomegranate. If you taste them, if you really watch the reaction coming to your mouth, you'll see there is the astringentness in the end.
A little bit of dryness.
Dryness, yes. And broccoli, cauliflower. And if you want to really, see that, pomegranate, one thing. Another thing which you try is, try raw banana. We put in your mouth, it dries your mouth immediately.
Okay.
So, if you want to feel what astringent feels like, so that is the raw banana. Just cut a small piece, put in your mouth, you see that it dries out very quickly. So a lot of beans has that naturally occurring dryness to it. So that calms down, it makes things compact and helps the whole body.
Okay, one thing I wanted to follow up on about, you mentioned yogurt as a sweet thing. So I know something that's really popular and easy to do is go to the store and buy one of those sweetened yogurts. What are your thoughts on that?
So, the yogurt also has a sweetness and sourness to it.
Yes.
So there is a naturally sourness to it. So when you go to the store and buy this yogurt, read the label. There is a thickening agent, there is a stabilizing agent, there's a lot of sugar in it. So I encourage people to make yogurt at home, and we will post one video, and it's very easy. It's not very difficult to make yogurt. And whenever I'm encouraging people to make a yogurt, I encourage them to use A2 milk. We will also talk about in one of these videos about A1, A2 milk, because what is the difference between A1 and A2 milk, why people should use A2 milk. And so I think that's wraps up for the Pitta.
Okay, perfect. So our last but not least, Kapha dosha, made up from water and earth. What can you tell us about Kapha?
So the Kapha is cold. We talked about that.
Yes.
And it's watery. And also different phases of life we go through Vata, Pitta and Kapha, by the way.
Right.
So in the younger age, we are Kapha age. So most of the diseases happen, runny nose, eyes, cough, phlegm.
Very mucousy.
Very mucousy. As we go into adulthood, we go into Pitta phase, more burning, heartburn, colitis, gall. Yes, exactly. So as you get into older, we get into Vata, dry skin, dry dementia, nervousness, insomnia. So, and you want to do opposite thing to balance it out. So in the Kapha phase, you want to use some more of the balancing thing, which we'll talk about a little later here. So the Kapha body frame is broad, strong, and they are workaholic people. They can work all day without getting tired if they are on schedule.
Yes,
then it's balanced. The other part of them is they get lazy too.
Okay.
So that needs to be watched. They can easily gain weight. They can have a weakness for sweet thing. So sugar, they can easily addict to sugar. Vata person also get addicted to sugar too, because they want that energy, and the sugar gives them quick energy, and then they utilize it again, and then they finish it off, then they want to again.
Right.
So that is the nature of the sugar. Skin usually cool, fair, oily, thick, soft, smooth. The hair are oily, wavy, thick. Eyes are big, round, like in Sanskrit they call like a dove eyes, like like a doe eyes, like a big eyes, like your eyes, beautiful eyes. Appetite steady. The evacuation wise can be slow and regular, but moderate quantity, and they can sweat moderately. Temperament wise, they are cool, kind of calm people, very loving, hugging people, but stubborn. Once they are stuck, they are stuck. They don't move too quickly. They learn things slowly. Memory wise, they're not the first one to learn things, but once they learn it, that's there. They just got it for the rest of their life. They're really slow, melodious speech, deep. A lot of those the radio jockeys, and television announcers, TV announcers, those big, deep bass voice, those are Kapha people.
Oh, it's good to know.
Yeah. They don't like dampness because they have dampness in them.
Right.
So they don't like dampness. They need to be in routine. Once they're routine, they enjoy it. They stick to it. Very loving, caring, easygoing people. So the problem with them, they can hold on to things for too long.
Okay.
They get attached. If you go to their home, they have stacks of things. The garages are full. They don't let it go. They don't give donations or has a hard time giving it away. Once they learn how to detach. The Kapha people become very wonderful people. Well-rounded.
Okay.
And so another interesting part about Kapha is he is a loving, caring, and wonderful person. But if you push him too hard, he becomes the worst enemy then. So never become enemy of Kapha.
All right, that's good to know.
Then does not let it go
Okay.
because of the attachment.
Right.
So, but he's in journal. If you look at historically, there are a lot of cultures around the world. I don't want to name them. You can Google it around. They're very loving when you go and meet these people. Loving, but they're also very ferocious. If they have an animosity with somebody, they will just be their deadly enemy.
Oh wow. Okay. That's all good to know. So let's learn how to balance all of that.
So Kapha, as you know, heavy. So we need to give lighter food, which they can easily digest. Warm is good. Try pungent, means spicy, bitter, astringent. Not too much astringent, because astringent also it accumulates things.
Right.
So they can have small amount because we need all kind of it. And then exercise.
Yes.
If you go off the routine, then you'll be bad Kapha. And wake up. They love sleep, by the way.
Yeah.
The sleep is their best friend. So, and they also, another interesting factor about them, they can be always late. If they're coming to the office 8 o'clock, they'll never be 8 o'clock. They'll be 8:10, 8:15, because that is tied up in that one. And so they should not eat very heavy in the morning, and the food consumption should be less and be a little more separated out, so they can help their body to recover more better, because the food can create some coma in them. So not too much food. Avoid the napping in the daytime, because that will cause you sleepy, sluggish, and fatigue. So if you follow this one, you get balanced with the Kapha.
Okay. Any tips on how a Kapha person can avoid naps or sleeping in?
So I don't recommend too much of stimulant, but coffee can be a good one. Green tea will be a good one. And again, try to get your sleep at night maximum time.
Right.
There was the other day I was reading a paper that when people has a warm climate or hot climate, they need some napping in that. So like if you look at all those people who live in that warm climate, they nap naturally in the daytime. So this is interestingly, like the animals does that too. So I think it will depend upon the climate, the place you live in. Like if you're living in a very hot place and that the sun get too hot and there's nothing you can do, so you have to take some rest.
Right.
So in that case will be okay. But if you get mucousy, tired, fatigue, then nap is not for you.
I've also heard like a natural stimulant, like ending your showers on cold water, might be good for Kapha people.
Yes, yeah, ending up, yeah, cold water. It also stimulates you too.
Yes.
It's a really good. It's another best way of losing weight.
Oh, that's good to know.
You know, yes, exactly. You actually, what do? You stimulate. We have two kinds of fat. There's actually now finding third kind of fat, but white fat and the brown fat.
Yes.
The kids has the more brown fat,
right.
so they lose weight very quickly, and that's usually around your hump here, which is called buffalo hump.
Yes.
So if you go do a cold shower in the end, you stimulate your brown fat, and brown fat is like a furnace. It takes your fat, it burns it off, and shocking little cold shock also helps to burn.
Okay.
Shivering is the best mechanism of losing weight.
Right, you talked about that.
Exactly. So, and basically in the Mother Nature we did it. You know, we didn't have these cozy houses. The weather changed. The weather went into the winter pattern, cold pattern, and the fat layers which we have collected was melting away. That was the reason we were more skinnier in the winter and fatter in the summer weather, because we were eating abundance of food, lots of nuts and seeds and juicy fruits and vegetable, and then winter. But now we are not following that cycles anymore.
Right.
So we have issue with the weight.
So going into food, what foods should a Kapha person focus on? Like pungent, bitter, and you said a little bit of astringent.
Yeah. So pungent, like a food which is spicy. So spices actually stimulate your juices, helps you digest better. Because Kapha will have a tendency to slow, sluggish digestion. So if you put that one, you'll be really good. So you can use cardamom, cinnamon, cumin, ginger, garlic, black pepper, long pepper, all those wonderful spices. Bitter, like dandelion, greens, spinach is slightly bitter if you taste it. Artichokes are bitter. Bitter melons are bitter. Chocolate, you know. And then you can also use other spices like a neem and fenugreek and turmeric. Turmeric is really good for Kapha people, by the way. Astringent, the beans, almost all beans are astringent. So you can use that in your diet. Beans are also good source of protein, especially if you're vegetarian.
Right.
Beans provide around 20%, around the clock, give and take, 20% protein by dry weight.
Oh, wow.
So if you have 100 grams of bean, dry, there's a 20 grams of protein in it.
Okay.
So a lot of people who are vegetarian out there, this is the best source of getting your proteins. And although greens has protein too, like I give this example a lot, like broccoli, one head has 80 calories and one egg has around 80 calories. One egg has around 7 grams of protein. A broccoli head has 10 grams of protein, but you have to eat the whole head.
Yes.
So to get that.
Yes.
So, just keep that, in mind, because a lot of people are nowadays very conscious about the food and the calories what they're consuming. And that's what I tell my patient, you cannot go wrong by eating more vegetables.
Right.
You're not going to eat buckets of it. And and we need a lot of fiber. Beans has fibers, greens have a lot of fiber in there. So if you eat fiber-rich food, you are going to stay healthy overall.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you for that insight and all those tips. This video was about all of our doshas, characteristics, and how you can balance them. What we have coming up next is seasons and how the doshas will react to each season and how to balance each season. So if you like this video, please subscribe, comment, and share with your loved ones.
Thank you.
Great.